Narayaneyam, that like the name itself suggests, talks about the glories of Bhagavan Narayana or Bhagavan Vishnu. Now, Narayaneyam is actually an essence or like a condensation, a gist of Srimad Bhagavata Puranam. So, like we all know, Srimad Bhagavatam has about 18,000 shlokas, right? Narayaneyam consists of about 1036, 1037 shlokas approx. So, the entire gist of Srimad Bhagavatam has been condensed. A shorter version of the same has been put in Narayaneyam. And this has been done by a great poet called Narayana Bhattatri. He belonged to a village of Melpattur. That's how he gets the name Melpattur Narayana Bhattatri. Now, this text actually is a Sanskrit literature text, and now Melpattur Narayana Bhattatri has not alone composed only Srimad Narayanam. There are also many texts which he has composed, which we will see about later. Now, this text that is there, Narayanam, it is said to have been composed around the 15th, 16th century or so. But the script that is there is believed that we have got it quite later. Now, because in those times, maybe we didn't have proper publications that were there, or you can say written form things were not available that easily. So the manuscripts and everything, it is believed that about 300-400 years back people got used to it, or people actually found out about this text. Further, this text that is there mainly glorifies Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavan Narayana, Bhagavan Vishnu, and moreover specifically it worships Lord Guruvayurappan of Kerala. Now Guruvayurappan is whom? The Lord who is a form of Krishna only, who is worshipped in the town of Guruvayur, which is in today's Kerala, right? So whenever we say Guruvayurappan, it is nothing but a form of Krishna only, specially worshipped in the southern regions. Even in other parts of the world also, we have the form of Krishna, we have the form of Guruvayurappan who is worshipped as Krishna, right? Now, how come Bhattatri came across Narayaneyam? What was the idea behind composing Narayaneyam? For that, there is a story. Now, it is said that Bhattatri, he had a guru by the name Achyuta Pisharadi. Now, this guru was there, he was suffering from a very deadly disease, Vatarogam. Vatarogam is a kind of leprosy, you can say, or kind of arthritis, wherein the body parts that are there, they become very stiff. We cannot move our body, hand movements, leg movements, nothing can be done. And it was causing unbearable pain. So you just imagine a state where you cannot move your body at all, it is causing so much of pain. That's when Bhattatri, he decides, he prays to Bhagavan saying that my guru should not undergo this kind of suffering. Whatever suffering my guru is tolerating today, let that disease be transferred to me. That's how Krishna, it seems that he fulfilled Bhattatri's wish, and soon Bhattatri started suffering from this grave illness, it seems. That's when what happens is Bhattatri, he was sitting along with his followers in a particular, now he cannot move, right? So therefore he had few shishyas with him who are sitting along with him. And that's when one fine day, a person called Elithachan is the name of the person, he comes there to meet Narayana Bhattatri and gives him an idea, saying that you go to a place and you start with the fish. Only this idea Bhattatri's guru, that Elithachan, he just gives an idea, saying that you start with the fish. Now the followers who are all there along with Bhattatri, they all became mad at that person, thinking that Bhattatri is such a great poet also, you come and tell him that you start with the fish. They took it in this way that maybe that person is asking Bhattatri to consume something related to a fish also in order to cure his illness. But Bhattatri, being a great scholar, of course he was a person who was not going to indulge in such things. That is when, though the followers were mad at that person, Bhattatri got a hint saying that maybe the Lord only has come in the form of this Earthachan, and he has given me a hint. When he says start with the fish, that means he is giving me an idea to start with Matsyavataram, the fish form or the fish avataram of Bhagavan. So let me start with that. Let me start describing all the various avatars of the Lord and compose a text glorifying Narayana. That's when Bhattatri decides that I will not alone talk about the various avatars of Bhagavan like Matsyavataram and so on. Let me take Srimad Bhagavatam as the base text, and considering this text, let me write a gist or a condensation of the entire Srimad Bhagavata Puranam. That's how he keeps the Srimad Bhagavata Puranam as a reference text and he starts composing Narayaneeyam. That's how, this is the background story of how Narayana Bhattatri got an idea or got a blessing from Bhagavan himself to compose this divine text. That's how we see. Now, though Earthachan who was there, he told Bhattatri that you start with the fish. That means ideally Bhattatri should start with Matsyavataram. But Bhattatri, because he kept Srimad Bhagavatam as the base text, he did not start with Matsyavataram directly. He started with Skanda 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam, saying that who exactly is Bhagavan? Chapter number 2, what is the form of Bhagavan? Dashakam 3 talks about Bhakti Prarthana and so on. Now, what was the need for this? Now, Earthachan tells you start with Matsyavataram. Bhattatri also could have done that, right? But no. For commoners and bhaktas like you and me, whenever we are, now it is not only for Narayaneeyam also. Whatever that we do, we always have a lot of questions in our mind, right? Saying that if I am doing something, what exactly am I doing? What is the purpose behind it? How should I do it? What will I gain out of it? These are different questions that come in. And after knowing about all such things also, whether we are actually going to do it or no, that is a big question mark, right? Therefore, Bhattatri says that who exactly is Bhagavan? What exactly is the Supreme? What exactly is divinity? That is described in chapter number 1, that is Dashakam 1. Dashakam 2 that is there talks about Bhagavat Swarupam. Now we all know who is the divine, but there will be some Swarupam, right? There is some form in which we have to worship the Lord. All that description is given in chapter number 2. Chapter number 3, now I know who is the Lord, I know the form of the Lord. Now I need to worship, I need to show some bhakti, right? Now all of us have Shraddha, all of us have Bhakti. But how should that be shown towards Bhagavan? That is described in Dashakam 3. Now, so in this way Bhattatri starts composing Narayaneeyam. But now Bhattatri realizes that though he talks about the glories of Bhagavan, he has kept Srimad Bhagavatam as the base text, still the root purpose of composing Narayaneeyam is nothing but his reason to cure the illness. Earthachan says that you start with the fish and you start composing these divine shlokas on Bhagavan. Bhagavan will definitely come and cure your illness. So the main purpose, or you can say one of the purposes of composing this text is to cure his illness. That is the reason at the end of every Dashakam. Now what exactly is Dashakam? In the case of Narayaneeyam, every chapter, we don't call it as a chapter also, we call it as a Dashakam. Dasha is 10. So, roughly if you consider, every Dashakam has got about 10 shlokas in it. Some Dashakams will have few plus and minus. Hardly I think 1 or 2 Dashakams have 9 shlokas. Some will have 11, some will have 12. Like the 4th chapter, Ashtanga Yogam has about 15 shlokas. So that way the number keeps changing, right? So roughly you can consider about 10 shlokas in every Dashakam. That's how every chapter is called as Dashakam. Like in the Ramayanam we call it as Sarga. In Srimad Bhagavatam it becomes Skanda. Skanda is one portion, right? Similarly in Narayaneeyam every chapter is called as Dashakam, having 10 shlokas each, roughly. So Bhattatri at the end of every Dashakam, though he talks about that particular topic, like for example Dashakam 1 speaks about the divine, Dashakam 2 talks about the Swarupam of the divine, Dashakam 3 describes about Bhakti Prarthana, how one should do Bhakti, Dashakam 4 talks about Ashtanga Yoga Paddhati and so on. But At the end of every Dashakam, Bhattatri sticks to his own purpose, saying that please cure me of my illness. So that is a shloka which is told at the end of every Dashakam, because that is one of the main purposes of composing Narayaniyam. Like Prema Praudi Rasartrata Drutataram Vatalayadhishwara, or any shloka you consider the end of any Dashakam, last will always be this way: Pahimam, Vatapuresha Pahimam, Anilesha Pahimam, saying that you please protect me and please free me from this deadly illness of Vatarogam. So that is why it is said that Narayaniyam, whenever we chant, it is said to cure all kinds of illnesses, physical and mental worries, physical illnesses, especially for Vatarogam. And not only Narayaniyam, it is also said that there is another like a Sahasranama, like we chant Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama. Similarly, there is also Narayaniya Sahasranama. Narayaniya Sahasranama has about again Sahasranama, 1000 names of Bhagavan Vishnu, and these namas that are there, all these namas come chapter wise in Narayaniya. That is what is believed. Now this Narayaniya Sahasranama has been composed by actually a Vaidya who was practicing Ayurvedam, called Ayyappan Kariyat. He belonged to again Kerala only. So he has composed this Narayaniya Sahasranama. Many of you might be familiar with this also, right? So by even this Narayaniya Sahasranama that is there, or a text which was composed earlier than Narayaniyam, called Chakora Sandesha. It is a text wherein it describes and it refers that there were a lot of patients who were there who used to go and settle in Guruvayur. They used to worship Bhagavan. So like this, there are a lot of stories which revolve around. So of course, we are not learning Narayaniyam just because we need something out of it, or just because someone has to be cured and so on. But in general, like every shloka has got some significance behind it. Similarly, Narayaniyam has got a significance that it blesses each one of us with Ayuhu, Arogyam and Saukyam, long life, good health and happiness or peace. So that is the gist or the significance of Narayaniyam. Now, Bhattatri, like I told you, he was suffering from this illness. He gets an idea from Editachan to compose all the Dashakams of Narayaniyam. Slowly and steadily, what he does is, while he starts, he tells people who are there along with him that you please take me to the land of Guruvayur, to the temple of Guruvayur, and there only I will sit and compose this entire text. So what Bhattatri, now Bhattatri actually belonged to a Nambudri family of Kerala, right? Now, while he went to Guruvayur, every day he used to start writing one Dashakam, it seems. And while he was composing those Dashakams, his own younger brother actually wrote it down. That's how the reference goes. And daily, one chapter, one Dashakam they used to write. And they had planned that we will write about 100 Dashakams also, 100 chapters. Now, if we see, in the initial, now little, Bhattatri also has got few qualities like you and me. Of course, there is no comparison with us, with Bhattatri. But still, in the first two chapters that are there, which talk about divinity, Bhattatri does not anywhere speak about his illness. He does not describe that. He just describes what is the divine, who is the divine, what is the Swarupam of the Lord and so on. But slowly, like you and me, while he reaches Dashakam 3, little bit he starts thinking about himself. Now we also, whenever we pray to Bhagavan, we all pray very selflessly, no doubt about it. I am not saying each one of you, but little at the back of our minds, whenever there is some purpose which needs to be achieved or so, or little, we also become selfish, right? No, I need this, I need that, or I am doing what not for you, still the Lord is not listening to me, right? Maybe we'll do things for 2 days. The third day, if things are not happening the way we want, we start complaining, right? We start cursing even the Lord. So, similarly, Bhattatri also, he does not curse Bhagavan, but slowly he starts writing saying, Vatalayeshwara, come and protect me now. Now, even for great people like Bhattatri, he had to wait for 100 days to be blessed with the Lord. So what to talk about people like you and me who become fed up by showing bhakti even in a day or two, right? No, I did this, I did that, still Bhagavan is not blessing me. Everyone in the world is happy except me. I am being forced, I am being thrown with all kinds of problems and difficulties. Everyone around me is happy, right? This is human tendency which comes in. Of course, it is not wrong or right. We are all human, so such thoughts definitely do come. But Bhagavan, when he has to shower his grace, he definitely showers that. So in the case of Bhattatri also, Bhattatri had to suffer for 100 days. And in that suffering also, he has composed this divine text. So, like this, one day he used to compose one Dashakam. And it is believed that now why Narayaneeyam becomes very, very auspicious. Now all our texts, all our scriptures are very auspicious, no doubt. But why little bit speciality is told about Narayaneeyam is every day after Bhattatri had finished composing that day's Dashakam, it seems that Bhagavan is Karunamurti. Every day from inside the Sannidhi, Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavan Guruvayurappan used to nod his head, it seems, like an assurance also, saying that please keep going, I am there to save you, continue composing this divine work. That's how Bhattatri gets an assurance that okay, today's Dashakams have been approved by Bhagavan, Bhagavan is happy with it. The next day again he continues. Like this, he continues doing this till the 100th Dashakam, till Dashakam 99. Now how Bhattatri feels is, initially he talks about the divine Swarupam, then he feels that okay, maybe Bhagavan is not happy with this, I'll start talking about some philosophical topics. Let Bhagavan know that I also know about all this. That's when Dashakam 4 he talks about Ashtanga Yoga Paddhati. Then little he talks about Virat Swarupam of the Lord. Then slowly Bhattatri realizes that okay, this is all not working. Now let me start describing the various avatars of Bhagavan. That's when various avatars of the Lord he starts. Rama Avataram, Narasimha Avataram, Krishna Avataram and so on. Then Bhattatri realizes okay, now all the avatars are done. Let me start talking about Krishna Leela stories. That's when he starts talking about Krishna Jananam, Bala Leela, Kali Amardanam, Rasa Leela and so on. Finally, what happens? Then, okay, the Krishna Leela stories are done. Now later, what happens with Bhagavan? Like how he spent his time in Dwaraka, how his marriage took place, Rukmini Haranam, Rukmini Kalyanam, Bhama Kalyanam, all the Ashtamahishi Kalyanam, all that he describes. Then he feels, let me also talk about Bhagavan's role in Mahabharatam. That's when an entire Dashakam 86 talks about Dharma Yuddham. Then Kuchela Melanam, Dashakam 87, Kuchela Nama, starts that way, wherein Bhagavan's meeting with Sudama, all that is described. Finally Bhattatri, while he reaches Dashakam 90, he says that now everything is done. I have spoken about the divine, I have described about various avatars, I have spoken about the childhood stories of Bhagavan, the later Krishna Leela stories, everything is done. Now let me also speak about some philosophical topics. That's when he talks about Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Markandeya Katha, everything is done. Veda Stutihi. Finally, at the end of the 99th Dashakam, and on the 100th day, what happens is Agre Pashyami Tejo Nibidatarakala Yavali Lobhaniyam Piyusha Plavitoham Tadanu Tadudare Divyakai Shoravesham Tarunyarambaramyam Paramasukharasa Swadaromanchitangaihi Avitam Naradadyair Vilasadupanishad Sundari Mandalaishcha. Agre Pashyami, Bhattatri cries out that, oh Lord of Guruvayur, I am seeing you in front of me, I don't know what to do, all the hair on my body are standing erect. And now what is the difference between Dashakam 1 and Dashakam 100? Many people feel that the gist is the same. Dashakam 1 also talks about Bhagavan only, Dashakam 100 also talks about Bhagavan, but only difference is Dashakam 1 is the imagination of Bhattatri, Dashakam 100 is the Sakshatkaram of Bhattatri. So the Sakshat Darshanam which Bhattatri gets, that is described in Dashakam 100, and the imagination or whatever he had studied from Srimad Bhagavatam also, that is described in Dashakam 1. So this is the major difference between Dashakam 1 and 100. We have to make a note, many people feel it is one and the same. So this is how Bhattatri composes Narayaneeyam, a very, very divine text. And ultimately, on the 100th day, when Bhagavan gets when Bhattatri gets the darshanam of Guruvayurappan, he is also freed from his Vatarogam. And Bhattatri, like it comes in Dashakam 3 of Narayaneyam in his Bhakti Prarthana, Bhattatri also tells Bhagavan that why he should cure him from this disease. Because he says that विधूय क्लेशान् मे चरणयुग्मं धृतरसं कुरु चरणयुग्मं धृतरसं भवे क्षेत्रप्राप्तौ करमपि च ते पूजनविदौ भवन्मूर्त्यालोके नयनमथते पादतुलसी परिघ्राणे घ्राणं श्रवणमपि ते चारुचरिते. Now Bhattatri was composing Narayaneyam in order to cure him from that illness, right, where he could not move his body limbs properly. So he says, why I am telling you to cure me, my Bhakti Prarthana is, if you free me, if you free my body properly, if you cure me of my illness, Charana Yugmam Dhritarasam, my feet will walk to your temples, I will be able to come and worship you. Bhavet Kshetra Praptav, I can reach your temples if my feet are proper. Karaha, my hands, Karam Apichate Pujana Vidav. If you make my hands proper, I can do puja for you, I can do worship for you. Bhavan Murtyaloke Nayanam. If you bless me with good eyesight, I can visit your temples, I can see your idols. Bhavan Murtyaloke, I can see your Murti properly. Pada Tulasi Parigrane Granam. If my nose is proper, if my smelling ability is proper, I will be able to smell your Pada Tulasi, the Tulasi which has been offered to you on your Pada, on your feet. I will be able to smell that Bhagavan properly. Shravanamapite Charu Charite. If I am blessed with good hearing ability, Charu Charite, your Charitam, Charu Charite, your good stories, your good leelas can always be heard and experienced by me. Therefore, Bhattatri says, even if I am praying to you to cure me of my grave illness, to bless me with good physical health, Bhagavan, this is the only reason, so that I can spend my life by visiting your temples, by doing worship for you, by seeking your divine darshanam, by listening to your great stories, also by smelling the fresh flowers and tulasi that has been offered to you. Thinking about this, I surrender to you completely. Now, Dashakam 1 Shloka 1 talks about the grace which Bhagavan has showered on Bhattatri and ultimately to people like you and me. Sandranandavabodhatmakamanupamittam kaladeshavadhibyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamashata sahasrena nirbhasyamanam aspashtam drishtamatre punaruru purusharthatmakam brahmatattvam तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम्. Aspashtam drishtamatre, Bhattatri says, even your drishtamatram, just a glance, if you shower on your devotees, that alone is enough, Bhagavan. You don't even have to see us completely. Just kataksham of the Lord is enough for us to succeed in life. And today, if you are able to worship you, if you are able to chant your namas, if you are able to pick up this divine text of Narayaneyam, Hanta Bhagyam Jananam, it is nothing but our Bhagyam, our good fortune. Bhattatri tells this for himself, ultimately it is for people like you and me, that it is our own divine fortune and the grace of Bhagavan, that, like I told you in the beginning also, today we should, though we can all say, I am learning Narayaneyam, I am chanting Narayaneyam, I am very much interested in the text and so on. How much ever self-interest let it be, how much ever you find a person to teach you Narayaneyam, how much ever you self-learn it or whatever it is, if divine grace is not there, if Guruvayurappan does not wish that we should all learn Narayaneyam, we can never learn it, right? We can not even touch the text. So, we should all definitely feel very, very blessed that we are able to learn this text, divine text of Narayaneyam, which has been approved by Bhagavan Guruvayurappan only. Every day, 100 days, Bhagavan comes, gives the assurance to Bhattatri that whatever you are doing is good, keep going. That's how on the final 100th day, he gives Sakshatkaram, he gives Darshanam to Bhattatri. Moreover, one more aspect of Narayaneyam is, Bhattatri has written the entire Narayaneyam in first person, second person. That means like having a direct conversation with Bhagavan. So therefore, when we are also chanting that way, it is as if we are having a conversation with Guruvayurappan. That's how it is. It is not in third person also. It is not like a charitam that is written. It is composed in first person, second person communication. So that is again a very unique aspect of Narayaniyam. So whenever we chant the shlokas of Narayaniyam, it is as if we are having a divine conversation directly with Guruvayurappan. Yeah. Now, just to conclude, now there are many things that can be told about Narayaniyam, about Bhattatri, about the text and so on. Maybe in the later sessions also we will look at the same. Today I just gave you a gist of the text. Moreover, we all, whenever we have got, now that we have got this opportunity to learn this text, definitely, most of us, we have already gone to Guruvayur. Definitely very soon we must all get a chance to go and worship Bhagavan Guruvayurappan. If we cannot go to Guruvayur, there will be a nearby Guruvayurappan or a Krishna temple at your houses, nearby your houses. Definitely go and worship Bhagavan there, because we have all got a divine chance to learn. The book also, you can take it along, do Samarpanam in that temple. Or if it is not possible to go to a temple also, we can definitely, we might have a Krishna idol in our houses, we can definitely keep there in the puja area and worship. Now why this has to be done is just as a sense of being grateful, right? Bhagavan has given us this chance. We cannot give back anything to Bhagavan. What we can do is we can just be grateful, right? Hardly 1 minute it takes to do a Samarpanam there. Just keep the book there. If you have some flowers, you can offer. Any Nevidyam of your choice, if you can prepare, it is okay. If you cannot prepare, you can offer a glass of water. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. So this you can definitely do. Now that we are going to start learning this divine text of Narayaniyam, all these things can definitely be done. While we are hearing, listening to the glories of Bhagavan, we can definitely do these things. We have Dhyana Shlokas and Arati that is there, which needs to be always chanted. Whether we are chanting all the 100 Dashakams, whether we are chanting 1 Dashakam, half a Dashakam, whatever it is, it should always start with Dhyana, which is all mostly there in our Narayaniyam books only. Arati also is the Jaya Jagadisha Arati, which is also will be there in your Narayaniyam books only. So this is all about a small gist of Narayaniyam, Bhattatri and the grace of Guruvayurappan. Now with regards to Guruvayurappan also, whenever we go to Guruvayur, a very popular thing is told. It seems that once a devotee, he complains to Bhagavan saying that when I come to Guruvayur, I have to stand in the queue for so long, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, sometimes it is even more. And ultimately what happens? One small darshanam, hardly a few seconds, I am able to see you. Though that also blesses me a lot, though I feel very happy, paripurna, after getting that experience, still the Lord, this is something which is very unfair, right? I am standing for so long and then I am not able to see you properly. That too we know in Guruvayur, right? Bhagavan is there in the boy form. Moreover, the idol is also Krishna, Shyamaha, black in color. Bhagavan is there in a very smaller form. The main inside Sannidhi is quite small. And in all this, hardly 1 minute we are able to see, not even 1 minute, a few seconds we are able to see Bhagavan and they push, right? So, Bhagavan says to that Bhakta, this is your Ajnanam that is there. You are able to see me for a few seconds, but I am always seeing you while you are waiting for me in the queue that is there. When you come inside to take my darshanam, even if you are not in Guruvayur, still I am looking at you always. So listening to this, the Bhakta who was there, he has happy tears in his eyes. At the same time, he feels very ashamed that this, and he tells himself that this is the reason why I am a human being and the Lord in front of me is Bhagavan, because for me, I see for a few seconds, I think only that is grace. But for Bhagavan, he is always watching over me, and that's why Guruvayurappan says, you don't have to worry. Though you get my darshanam for a few seconds or so, I am always watching over you, so you don't have to think about anything at all. So this is the grace of Guruvayurappan. Later also we will see many stories related to the grace of Bhagavan.